It was raining hard that night, one of those endless city storms that wash away the noise but leave behind the ache. Under the dim streetlight, a young woman held an umbrella over a man lying motionless on the cold pavement. Her hands trembled as she pressed on his chest, whispering, "Please, stay with me, don't you dare die now." She didn't know his name or where he came from, but that night, saving him would change her entire life. Chapter 1: The Struggle. Maya was used to long days and longer nights. At 29, she worked double shifts at a small cafe, barely making enough to keep the lights on in her tiny apartment. Her 6-year-old son, Leo, was her entire world, a curious, bright boy who never complained even when dinner was just soup and bread. Every morning she kissed his forehead, promised him a better life, and stepped out into the bustling city with tired eyes and hopeful heart. Life hadn't been kind to her. Her husband had left when Leo was just a baby, leaving behind nothing but unpaid bills and shattered trust. Still, Maya never let the world see her break. Chapter 2: The Night That Changed Everything. That fateful night after closing the cafe, she walked home in the pouring rain, her umbrella half broken and her shoes soaked through. As she turned a quiet corner, she saw a man collapse near a parked car. Without hesitation, she ran toward him. He was well-dressed, expensive suit, polished shoes, but his face was pale and he clutched his chest in pain. "Sir, can you hear me?" she cried, kneeling beside him. No response. Her heart pounded. She called emergency services, then began CPR, something she remembered learning from a free community class years ago. Her hands shook as she counted compressions, whispering desperate prayers between each one. After a few agonizing minutes, the ambulance arrived. The paramedics took over, and one of them told her she probably saved his life. She stood there drenched, tears mixing with rain, watching as they drove away. She didn't even get his name. Chapter 3: The Mysterious Visitor. 3 days later, Maya returned home from work to find a black luxury car parked outside her building. A tall man in a grey suit stepped out, clean-shaven, confident, with eyes that seemed to hold a story. "Maya Thompson?" he asked. She nodded, cautious. "I'm Daniel Reed, you saved my life." Maya froze. "You're the man from that night." He smiled faintly. "Yes, I wanted to thank you in person." He handed her a bouquet of lilies and an envelope. Inside was a check, enough to pay all her debts and still have some left. She pushed it back gently. "I can't take this, I didn't do it for money." Daniel looked surprised, then smiled softly. "Then maybe we can start with coffee." Chapter 4: Two Worlds Collide. Over the following weeks, Daniel visited the cafe often. Sometimes for coffee, sometimes just to talk. He learned about her life, her struggles, her dreams. And Maya learned that Daniel wasn't just an ordinary man. He was the CEO of Reed Enterprises, a powerful technology company. He never acted superior, though. Around her, he was just Daniel, the man who laughed at her jokes, helped her fix a leaky faucet, and cared deeply for Leo. Still, Maya couldn't shake the feeling that they lived in two different worlds. She was a struggling single mom. He was a wealthy businessman. Yet something about his kindness felt real, something she hadn't felt in years. Chapter 5: The Challenge of Hearts. As their friendship deepened, rumors began swirling at Daniel's office. His assistant, Claire, who'd admired him for years, grew jealous. She warned him, "Sir, she's after your money. Women like her always are." Daniel's expression turned cold. "You're wrong about her." But Maya overheard one of these conversations when she visited Daniel's office one afternoon. It broke her heart. She left quietly, not wanting to be seen as someone chasing wealth or pity. That night, she cried silently beside Leo, wondering if she had made a mistake letting him into her life. Chapter 6: The Broken Bridge. Days turned into weeks, and Daniel noticed Maya's absence. He called, texted, no reply. Finally, he found her working at the cafe, pretending everything was fine. "Maya, why are you avoiding me?" he asked. "Because we don't belong in the same story, Daniel," she said, holding back tears. "You have a world of power and prestige. I have bills and bedtime stories." Daniel's voice softened. "You saved my life, Maya. You didn't just bring me back. You reminded me what life should mean." But she turned away, whispering, "Some things can't be fixed with gratitude." Chapter 7: The Storm Before the Dawn. One night, Leo fell severely ill. Maya rushed him to the hospital, terrified. She had no money for the treatment he needed. Sitting in the waiting room, she felt the crushing weight of helplessness. Then, as if fate intervened, Daniel appeared. "I heard from your coworker. I'm here," he said gently. She tried to protest, but Daniel had already arranged everything. "Let me help, please, not because I owe you, but because I care." Tears streamed down her face. "Why are you doing this for me?" He smiled faintly. "Because when you saved me, Maya, my heart didn't just start beating again, it started beating for you." Chapter 8: Healing and Hope. Leo recovered fully, and Daniel stayed by their side every step of the way. Slowly, Maya began to trust him again. She saw how he treated her son as his own, how he respected her independence, and how he never tried to buy her affection. Months later, Daniel invited her and Leo to his company's charity gala. At first, she hesitated, feeling out of place among the wealthy guests. But when Daniel took her hand and introduced her as the woman who saved my life and my heart, the entire hall applauded. For the first time in years, Maya felt seen, not as a struggling mom, but as someone who mattered. Chapter 9: The Proposal. A year later, Daniel took Maya and Leo to the same park where they first met, the very spot where she had saved his life. Under the golden sunset, he knelt down and said, "Maya, you gave me a second chance at life and love. Will you let me spend the rest of it proving I'll never take you for granted?" Maya's eyes filled with tears. Leo giggled, shouting, "Say yes, Mom." She laughed through her tears and whispered, "Yes." Chapter 10: The Message of Love. Their wedding was simple but filled with joy. Maya continued working part-time, not out of need, but out of pride. Daniel admired her strength, her humility, and her heart. Together, they built a life rooted not in wealth or status, but in gratitude, respect, and love. And whenever someone asked Maya how it all began, she would smile and say, "Sometimes you save a life, and that life ends up saving yours."